it's the one that I worked on that got the most favourable reviews. Like I've said at the previous convention, my heart literally sank into my boots sitting in a private viewing down in London, watching Platoon, thinking, how the hell do you do this for kids? How to make this palatable? The children aren't even going to see the film. You've got people's brains coming out all over the screen, and you've got to make this entertaining, and you've got to make the parents say, oh yes, I desperately want to buy that for little Johnny. But I did it, and it went well. The team were behind it 100%. I worked on quite a few of the other movie tie-ins. The Adams tie-in we did is my favourite game that I worked on at Ocean, mainly because of the freedom we were given, and the team I worked with, Warren Lancashire and Jamie Higgins. I was Johnny Come Lately onto that, and I was just given carte blanche. They basically just said, draw something spooky. And usually you were nailed down with a brief for graphics. And these guys just didn't. They just said, just draw, just keep drawing, and we'll pick the cream of the crop. I don't think they picked some of the ones, the sprites that I would put in, but it's personal taste. The ones they did put in, I'm very, very pleased with. I love the project. I wish we'd been given the time to complete it fully, but we had to rush it to get it through to E3 or ECTS of 1 year. It wasn't the game that it could have been, but it still stood head and shoulders above anything else that Britain was producing for the Super Nintendo at that time. I can literally sing the praises of Warren. His design for that game, he kept the vision all the way through. He made sure we stayed online. Jamie coded like a trooper, and I just did as I was told. And basically, those two games for me, if they were the only two games I'd ever done for Ocean, that's fine for me, because they were magical times.
Gary, Simon just mentioned sort of freedom. How, as being the man in the middle very often between the film company or the arcade company and Ocean working on the game, how did you find it?
Yeah, it was difficult because I was, if you like, the bad guy for both, because I had to deliver the bad news to the development team and say, okay, we want this amazing game, it's going to be ready in 2 months or whatever it is, which was an impossible task. And then I also equally had to deliver the news to the upstairs, as we call them, the sales and marketing people, and say this is going to be late or we can't do it in that time frame. So I was everyone's enemy, everyone's friend if it worked out well. I'll go along with Simon. Platoon was a benchmark in many ways because it was the first big license that Ocean got involved with before the film had been made. Prior to that, there were things like Top Gun and a few other movie licenses that were already out and had already been released, so we knew they were successful. Chuck a game out and it will sell based on the name. This was the first time we went out speculatively with a game we hoped, with a film that we hoped would do well. We didn't really appreciate the amount of adult content, but it was very adult. And Simon did a remarkable job, and I still vividly remember the storyboards he did. And it was also the first. It was a number of firsts for us. It was the first game that actually had different types of gameplay in different levels, and about 4 or 5 different sections of the game which were entirely different to each other. That had never been done before. It was always the same thing right the way through. We also did a deal and had an advert for the game on the video release, and so there were a lot of firsts with Platoon. It was a big thing. It was the first time a video game had been properly licensed and coordinated with the film company, and that set a precedent, which was followed by a number of others, and then came, and because your question was about conversions, film conversions, then came the big one, which was Robocop, which absolutely was a game changer for Ocean. It was the first million-selling game, I think, for anyone, let alone Ocean. It was huge, and again, there were a few different sections in there, but it was mainly a platform-type game. And I'll go with Simon on the Addams Family as well. A remarkable, fun game to work on. It was important to allow as much freedom, creative freedom as possible, but having to rein in that freedom because conscious of having a deadline as well. So it was a very, very difficult line to tread, and with a lot of practice we did it. We did release a lot of dross, absolutely, hands up in the air. But there are a number of film titles that we are genuinely proud and pleased of. Those two, Platoon and Addams Family, let's say Untouchables. I can usually rattle them off and I can't think properly.
I would say another one that Ocean should be proud of is Batman the movie.
Batman
the 16-bit versions
yeah.
on the Amiga and ST with the 3D Batmobile and Batwing sections. That was a game changer because it really showed the power. And it was a good tie to a big film, yes, as you say, with the Michael Keaton billboards everywhere. You had good promotion for the game and the film simultaneously. So
quick anecdote about Batman the movie. We were working closely with Warner Brothers. We had to get the game out in time for the film. Big blockbuster. Fortunes were being spent on this. And of course, when we had a game, we had to get it approved by the film company. So we sent the game to them, and it was finished. It was done, and we were ready for the film release. And we got the comment back that Batman's ears were too long. And by a few pixels, Batman's ears were too long and it was not approved. And we had to change all of the graphics in the entire game of Batman, the main character, to get approval. Then it had to be resubmitted for approval. I think we made it by the skin of our teeth. And we had a big Amiga bundle at the time as well. Batman the movie was being bundled with the Amiga. It was this huge thing. We got it out. The other one was The Simpsons. We submitted that for approval and we got it back saying, no, not approved. Bart's blink is off model. What does that mean? And what happens with The Simpsons, their eyelids meet in the middle when they blink, and our blinks were normal blinks, and they wouldn't approve it. So we had to change the blinks.
Yeah, move on to Jim. Your favourite conversion?
Right. Does that include movie games?
Yeah, movie
or
arcade
games. Right, so there's a little story about Hudson Hawk. The fluff of it. Basically, we did, like Gary said with the other games, what we did was we drew Bruce Willis as close as we could get to him with Spectrum pixels. As you can imagine, he wasn't too pleased because it didn't look anything like him. So basically, he made us not do a realistic face of him because he didn't want it, because that would ruin his look. So whether he was just purely super vain or what, I don't know, but basically we had to redo all the graphics for the main character again, and just to get it out. We think we did an okay job of the revamp of the characterisation of it, just emphasising a few of his features. It was pretty good. The game that I liked converting the most was probably Midnight Resistance. Basically because when we saw it, it was like, how the hell are we going to fit that in a Specky? With all the colours, and it just needed to change the way that the Spectrum games that we were doing beforehand. We did like 2 colours and flat the scrolling on it to scroll the colours and stuff. So we had to come up with a new way of getting all them colours, and the sprites were all coloured. Everything had colouring. I think we did an okay job of that. The sales went pretty well as well, so that was it proved that the game was okay. So that was my particular favourite. The fact that we had, like you said earlier, the freedom to be able to approach converting the game in any way we liked. There was no rules. We didn't have to do it a certain way. Just whatever way we could come up with to do it, we went ahead and do it.
Yeah, just quickly, Mark. Your favourite?
Oh, I only worked on 2, so I haven't really got any anecdotes. Rambo 3, which I remember falling asleep to in the cinema when you sent me to go and see it. And Total Recall, which was probably one of the biggest nightmares that Ocean ever had to deal with, because the game got scrapped after a company had done no work on it for about 4 months. And then it was all rushed, taken in-house again. I'd already left. Simon had given me a call because he was working with this company that hadn't got a clue what they were doing and needed help. So I worked for this company for a bit. And then it all got taken, when all that went wrong, it wasn't going to go anywhere, it all got brought back in-house again. But that's probably my favourite actually, even though it's the biggest nightmare, it's my favourite because I got to work with all my old mates again. Like, it was a good year or so since I'd left Ocean. And I was back working in the dungeons at Ocean, so it was good fun. Hard work there.
Okay, thank you, Marvin.